In the beginning of this story, we see a house where a lot of people were selling drugs. Then a masked man came in with a gun and started running away after looting all the money inside. But as soon as he left the house, the police surrounded him from all sides and arrested him and put him in jail. Now during the investigation, it was found that this man's name is Savage, who used to be a soldier of the Special Forces. He fought many battles for his country in Iraq and Afghanistan, and for this, the government has given him a lot of medals. Now when the police commissioner came to know about this, he called Savage to his office and asked him the reason for doing this. On this, Savage replied that as long as the country needs us, we are taken care of. But as soon as we retire, the government leaves us to die. Actually, Savage has a daughter who is suffering from lung cancer, and Savage doesn't even have enough money to buy his medicines. Now after hearing all this, a thought came to the commissioner's mind and he decided to send Savage on a mission. Actually, he got the news that a man named Lucas, who is a warden of a jail in the city, he does many illegal things inside the jail. Lucas gets an illegal fight in his jail and earns money by live telecasting it. Along with this, he also gets drug dealing done from the prisoners of the jail. But despite all this, the police can't arrest him because they don't have any evidence against Lucas. So the commissioner wanted Savage to go inside that jail and collect evidence against Lucas and bring it to him. At first, Savage refused for this mission, but when the commissioner promised him that the government will pay for his daughter's treatment, he agreed to do this. Now the next day, Savage was sent to the jail where a guard named Killian welcomed all the prisoners and told them the rules of the jail. After this, the jail doctor put a chip in Savage's neck which was actually a GPS tracker. After this, when Savage reached his room, he got the phone sent by the commissioner under the bed so that he could collect the evidence and expose Lucas. Now that evening, when Savage went to eat in the mess, another prisoner named James started messing with him for no reason. But Savage didn't react to this and ignored James and left. After this, he reached the backyard of the jail where he met another prisoner named Tony. Here, Tony offered Savage to join his gang, but Savage refused and quietly left. Now that night, James and his gang attacked Savage and caused a ruckus in his cell. Then another prisoner named Bones reached Savage's cell and helped him fight them. But then, the guards also reached here, and all of them were caught and locked in a dark room. After this, the warden called James to his office and treated him well in return for this beating. Now after a while, Savage also reached the warden's office, but instead of beating him, the warden told him about the upcoming fighting competition in the jail. Actually, the warden knew that Savage is a soldier of the Special Forces and his fighting skills are very good. That's why he wanted Savage to participate in the fighting competition in the jail. He offered Savage that if he participates in these fights and beats the best fighter in the jail, then in return, he will be released from here. Now Savage also liked this offer because he wouldn't get a better chance to collect evidence against the warden. That's why he accepted this offer. After this, the warden gave him a fighting suit, and a lady officer brought Savage to his new room. Bones was already present in this room, and very soon they became good friends. Now after a while, Savage went to the jail's toilet and messaged the commissioner and gave him information about this illegal fight. On the other hand, Bones told him that Tony is the champion of this jail, and he hasn't fought a single fight so far. Now that evening, Savage wore his fighting suit and went to the fighting ring with Bones. This fighting ring was known as the dungeon, and there was only one rule for the fights, that there were no rules in these fights. Also, the warden telecasted these fights live so that the people outside the jail could also play chess on it. Now after seeing all this, Savage took out his phone and started making a video as evidence. Now after a while, Tony reached the fighting ring where he faced not one, but two prisoners. But despite this, Tony didn't have any problem in this fight, and he easily defeated both of them. Now the next fight was of Savage, and his opponent was another prisoner named Vampirio. Now since Savage was a commando of the Special Forces, as soon as the fight started, he punched Vampirio one punch and surrounded him, and he won his first fight in just 10 seconds. Now after this fight, Tony went to the warden and asked for his release. Actually, the warden had promised him that the day he becomes the champion of the jail, he will be released from the jail. On this, the warden says that if you want your freedom, then you will have to fight another fight, and this fight will be your last fight. And if you win this fight, then you will be free forever. Now Tony didn't have any other option, so he listened to the warden. But before leaving, he threatened the warden that if he broke his promise, then he will tell his gang and create a ruckus in the jail. Now the next day, a lawyer came to meet Savage, whose name was Janet. She was a government lawyer who wanted to fight Savage's case and get him released from here. Now since Savage was on a mission in the jail, he refused to take Janet's help. But despite this, Janet gave him her card so that if Savage's mind changes, he can contact her. After this, he went straight to the gym and started preparing for his next fight with Bones, because his next opponent was a very dangerous and fast fighter. Now such days passed, and the day of the fight came very soon. Here the warden announced Savage's fight and sent his opponent in the ring. Now as soon as the round started, Savage's opponent ran towards him, but Savage just punched once and surrounded this prisoner. Now seeing this scene, the other prisoners in the jail lost their minds, and they all started chanting Savage's name. However, Savage did not react to this victory and returned to his room with Bones. Now that night, Savage and Bones celebrated this victory together and started talking here and there. Here Bones told them that he is in jail because he murdered the person who misbehaved with his sister. On this, Savage says that whatever you did was right, and I know that you are not a bad person. Now that night, Savage reached the mess of the jail, and as soon as he entered, the whole mess was quiet. Actually, all these prisoners were very scared to see his fight, and they considered Savage a threat. Now the next day when Savage was washing his clothes, Tony's people attacked him. But at the same time, a jail guard reached there and tried to stop them all. But in the meantime, a knife hit the guard's chest and it fell directly on the ground. Seeing this, Savage immediately took this guard to the emergency room. And because of his smartness, this guard's life was saved. After this, the warden called Savage to his office and thanked him from the bottom of his heart. Because if that guard had lost his life, then the warden's story would have been over. Here, the warden asked Savage the names of those goons, and along with his guard Killian, he killed them both. Now after the death of his companions, Tony got angry and went to Savage to challenge him for a fight. However, Savage did not pay any attention to this and quietly continued his training. Now after training, he went to the warden's office and expressed his desire to fight Tony. Now hearing this, the warden was happy because he could earn crores of rupees from their fight. So he accepted Savage's offer and booked their fight. After this, Savage went to the jail's toilet and messaged the commissioner and informed him that he would soon face the best fighter in the jail. Now such days passed, and a week later, the day of the fight came. Here, the warden announced this fight and also started live streaming it, so that the people sitting outside the jail could also play Sada on this fight. Now this fight started very soon, and from the first minute, they started fighting each other. Now in the first round of this fight, there was a fight, but in the second round of the fight, Savage started hitting Tony. He thanked Tony a lot for his experience and beat him to the ground. Now after defeating Tony, Savage had become the new hero of this jail, and all the prisoners were chanting his name. Now after this fight, Savage went to his room and sent some videos to the commissioner as proof. But this time, he did not get any reply from the commissioner. Now that evening, when Savage went to eat in the mess, the other prisoners of the jail welcomed him and gave him a portion of their food. After this, the warden called Savage to his office and gave him an offer to work with him. Actually, the warden wanted Savage to control these prisoners and make a lot of money by getting them to fight. However, Savage rejected this offer because he considered all these prisoners as his brothers. After this, the warden took him to his secret den where he used to get the prisoners to do drugs business. He also gave Savage an offer to join this business, on which Savage said that he needs some time to decide. But before leaving, he filled some drugs in his pocket so that he could take them to the commissioner and destroy the warden's plot. After this, the warden took him to his office where the commissioner was already present. And now it is clear that the warden and the commissioner had been together from the beginning. Actually, they knew that Savage's fighting skill is very good. That's why they very cleverly put Savage in jail and got him to fight and made a lot of money. Now after knowing all this, Savage lost his mind. And after such a big betrayal, he was completely broken. Now the warden and the commissioner had a plan that they will get Savage to fight other jail fighters and earn a lot of money by selling that fight. Here, they gave Savage an offer to join them. But when Savage didn't agree to this, they called Bones and tortured him a lot. Now Savage didn't have any other option, and he was ready to fight to save his friend's life. After this, he took Bones to his room, and here they swore that they will destroy the warden and the commissioner's plot. After this, Savage called that lawyer Janet whom he met a few days ago. Here, he told Janet everything and put all the evidence against the warden in a memory card and gave it to her. Along with this, he turned all the prisoners in jail towards him and filled hatred for the warden in their hearts. Now such days passed by, and the day of the fight came. Here, the warden of the other jail reached this jail with his best fighter Shaka. Here, the wardens of both the jails bet on their fighters, and very soon their fight started. Now during this fight, Shaka started hitting Savage a lot, and in the first round, he insulted Savage a lot. But as soon as the second round started, Savage put those stolen drugs in Shaka's eyes, and taking advantage of this opportunity, he washed Shaka so much that he fell on the ground. Here, Savage gave the signal to all the prisoners in the jail, and as soon as he got the signal, he made a ruckus in the entire jail. Here, the guards tried to stop them, but the number of prisoners was so high that the guards couldn't do anything to them. Meanwhile, a battalion of the army entered the jail because Janet had handed over all the evidence to the government. And now the warden and the commissioner's plot was broken. Now after seeing all this, the warden tried to run away, but at the last moment, Savage came in front of him. Here, the warden rained bullets on him, but Savage's bulletproof suit saved his life. Then a bounce came here, and the warden was beaten to death. After this, the soldiers of the army arrested the warden and took all the prisoners of the jail on gunpoint. On this, Janet said that there is no one else to deliver those evidence to him but Savage himself. Now, due to this bravery of Savage, the government canceled all the charges on him and also took the expense of his daughter's treatment. Now, very soon, Savage was released from the jail, and when his daughter's treatment was over, he took her to the hospital. On the other hand, the warden and the commissioner were put in jail, and they were sentenced to life imprisonment for their crimes. And with this great movie ended here. I hope you liked this story. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in a new video, but until then, be safe and keep chilling.